Sarah from Sassy Reads, and today I'm bringing you my BookTubeAthon 2017 wrap-up. I actually did pretty decent for BookTubeAthon. At least I feel like I completed what I set out to complete, and I had a job to work that week, so it was really busy. But I'm just going to hop right in. I did a daily breakdown of page counts, and so yeah, I will talk about the challenges that I completed as I pick up and talk about my finished books. So on day 1, I read 50 pages of Firestarter by Stephen King. This wasn't originally on my TBR because I had the Tommyknockers originally on my TBR, but I finished that one and I ended up starting up this one, and it was my BookTubeAthon read and still reading it, but really fun, really good. The next book that I read for day 1 I completed, and I read 164 pages of The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. It's a French name. There's multiple ways you can pronounce it depending on which dialect you are speaking, and I'm usually surrounded by Cajun dialects, so I'm probably not saying it properly at all. And so this counted for the challenge of read a book with a character who is different from you. This is a very diversely vast world with androgynous, I guess you could say hermaphroditic species. They live on this planet called Winter, and they go into a cycle called Kimmering, and when they enter Kimmering, they will either become a male or a female, but when they are outside of Kimmering, they do not take on a sex. And this is about Jinli, sometimes known as Jinri, depending on which part of Winter, which is actually known as Gethin. You know, people, when they colonize or make something other than what it actually is, they like to give it a more, I guess say, Americanized name, even though this isn't America. It's like a worldly intergalactic thing. And they're on Gethin, and he's trying to bring Gethin into his planetary system. They're known as the Ecumen, or Ecumen, depending on how you pronounce that. I gave this like 3 stars. It's more like a 2.5, maybe even lower. I absolutely despised the ending. I thought it was so cheap. Like, to be honest, I think when you kill off a character that has no purpose other than to prolong or give higher purpose to a bigger mission or goal, I think that's cheap. I think it's tacky, and I don't think it's well written. I do think Le Guin, whatever her name is, she's a fabulous writer. Like, she can really write. She has some great lines in here. But this reads like an anthropology text and not a sci-fi novel, and that can get really boring if you're not interested in case studies. But yeah, this is just not for me, and I'm really sad because I really thought I was gonna love this one. But you know, to each their own. Maybe this one will be a showstopper for you. It definitely wasn't for me. So, it also completes the challenge of read a popular book, because every single sci-fi blog ever will recommend this novel as one of the greatest of all times, because you know it takes this was written in the 60s, so for a book from the 60s to even tackle such an androgynous species, it's like groundbreaking. The next book I read was the crime book. It is a book that I'm getting from NetGalley. It's just like crime, a book of crime. And it's actually pretty interesting. I read 30 pages of that, so that brings my total up to 244. On day 2, I continued with the Firestarter, and I read 70 pages. And I also read 37 pages of Too Scott to Handle. And I read and completed the Pictures of Hollis Woods, and this completes the challenge of read a book in a day. I tried to read it outside, but it is so hot I just couldn't. So I came in and I finished it off inside. I give this 3 stars. I wrote a review for it on Goodreads as well as on my blog. I will link that down below. You can read it and see my thoughts. I gave it 3 stars. Obviously, I liked it. I think it's really important for younger children because it touches such an intense subject, such as amnesia, as well, not amnesia, Alzheimer's. Two completely different things. But yeah, Alzheimer's is a really important topic to introduce to young children, because a lot of older people and family members do suffer from it, and if they are not exposed to the content like that this book provides, you know, it could be harder on them to understand what's going on in those kind of situations. So yes, that completed that challenge. The next book I read was more of the crime book. I read 24 pages, which brought my day 2 total up to 297 pages. On day 3, which is not a good day, I had work, I read 24 pages of the Beguile. Yes, a sad 24 pages. Total. That was my total for day 3. On day 4, I read 53 pages of the Beguiled, which is better, and I got to my goal, and my goal was to hit page 201, and I did. And on day 5, I read and completed The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. I've been reading this book since February. I read 46 pages of it, and I'm officially done with The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. I gave it a whopping 1-star rating because I thought it was boring, a complete waste of my time, and the ending was anticlimactic and a complete and total letdown with as long as the novella is, and there was no build-up, and it sucked. This completes the challenge of, you know what, I really don't remember what challenge this completes, and I don't think it completes any of the challenges really. So yeah, we'll just, yeah, there's that. I mean, I guess it could go for a pretty cover because I did kind of just buy this book for the cover. So let's say it goes for that challenge because it has a really, really nice cover. Too bad The Case of Charles Dexter Ward is one that you should skip. He does have some really great stories. That is not one of them. I think that was my least favorite out of all of them. And then I read 70 pages of the Firestarter, and that completed 116 pages for day 5. On day 6, I read 30 pages of the Firestarter, and I DNF'd a graphic novel called Dollface. I have a rage review for it. I only read 10 pages of it. It is linked down below. You can go and read it and see why I'm tired of the sexualization of women in comics and why it does nothing for the industry but bring a cliche, and it doesn't draw readers to graphic novels and comics because people think that graphic novels and comics are just naked women and they serve nothing for the plot. And yeah, so I read 40 pages that day, and then the last day of BookTubeAthon was a really, really good day. I read and finished 192 pages of Too Scott to Handle. This completes the challenge of read a book with a person on the cover. I gave this book 3.25 stars, and I completed a review for it because, you know, it's an ARC, so I wanted to get that out to the publisher. And I had some mixed issues with it. I didn't find the love interest to be all that dashing, as well as the heroine. I thought she was just nice, and that's nice, but that doesn't make a great heroine. You can check out more of my thoughts down below of my review because it's a lot more eloquent than this fast, rambly wrap-up can provide. And so the next book that I read was 18 pages out of East of Eden, which is great because I haven't touched this in like a month. And I got to reread 18 pages of it, and I was like, damn, John Steinbeck is so good. I love John Steinbeck so much. He's an amazing writer, and it just so happened that the 18 pages I read were phenomenal and fantastic and gripping and moving, and yes, it was mind-blowing and I loved it. I like just like as an example, so you can see, this is what a whole section of his book will look like if you like just annotate your books, because so brilliant, so much great commentary. I love it. And I also read 5 pages of Screwtape Letters to continue my devotionals, which is great because I hadn't touched this one in also like a month, and it was magnificent. I love Lewis, and he has some great stuff, and it's a great story. So I read 4 books for BookTubeAthon, and I completed 5 challenges. So I consider this to be a success. Let me know how you did on BookTubeAthon, and link your videos down below of your wrap-up. I'd love to watch them. Bye!